Istiqamah and sabr. Istiqamah and sabr, especially in the face of a tsunami, is the nasr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the victory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the aid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so I want to, inshallah, wrap up with this, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, He promises us victory, that the believers and that faith always wins. And He also promises that He will be with the believers. And so what we are witnessing, not only in the, in the seen world, but in the unseen world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with them. I can tell you that people are starting to see this, and it is actually mind-blowing to see the miracle of their sabr and the miracle of their istiqamah, because that's Allah holding them up. And I can tell you this, we all heard about this tragedy of the little boy, 6-year-old boy, who was stabbed 26 times in Chicago by a man who was, he was screaming, about how Muslims should die. And so this was, by the way, and I want to make this very clear, this is a result of the absolutely criminal propaganda machine that we are witnessing around us. Absolutely criminal propaganda machine coming out of CNN, BBC, ABC, all of the major news agencies. This man came and stabbed this child 26 times, a 6-year-old boy. But what really, really blew me away, and I totally broke down when I saw this, is after he was stabbed 26 times, he said to his mother, "Mama, I'm fine." If we don't think that that is the help of Allah, then we're not paying attention. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking care of these children. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking care of these men, women, and children who are undergoing this genocide. So while we are acting with our bodies and with our words and with our actions to put an end and to take action against oppression, we have to at the same time make sure that our hearts are looking at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that our hearts are seeing Allah, and our hearts are seeing La ilaha illallah in everything that's happening, because Allah is taking care of them. Allah took care of that child. Who says I'm fine after being stabbed 26 times? Allah took care of him. And Allah is taking, just as Allah made that child speak to the hairdresser of Pharaoh, just as Allah made Asiya when she was being tortured, He showed her her home in paradise, so she smiled. So in the physical world, she's being killed. In the physical world, she's being tortured. But in the real world, in the unseen, الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ, those who believe in the unseen, that has to be firm in our hearts, that in the unseen, Allah was taking her home, to her home in paradise. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect the people of Gaza and Palestine and all of our brothers and sisters. And we ask that this become a reminder for the ummah and a wake-up call for the ummah to come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to understand the reality of this life and to do our part, inshallah.